All right, friends, let's talk about something that is sexier than revenue. Do you know what that is? Your profit margin. Yes, it is true. Your profit margin is sexier than your revenue, even though that is the number that people like to say out loud. I made 6 figures. I made 7 figures. I made whatever. Really, the profit margin is where it's at. And in order to get to your profit and your profit margin, what do we need to know? Your expenses. So that's exactly what I'll be covering today in this video. I'll be sharing exactly what I spent on my business this past year and the breakdown of how much I've spent in each category. I will say that there are things that I did well and there are things that I didn't do so well this past year. So I'll be sharing that as well. And at the end of the video, if you want to know, because I would want to know, I'll be sharing my profit margin at the end. So stay tuned for that. I took all of the notes so that I can give you accurate information. So that is what I'll be referring to on my phone over here. So the first thing that I want to share are my categories. I have 5 categories in my expenses. So the first one is going to be hired help. The second is going to be tech and software. The third is education. Fourth is cost of goods. And then fifth is going to be travel. So let's go over the percentage breakdown and how much was allocated in each category, starting from the top. So at the top, starting with my biggest one, is going to be 56% of my expenses went to hired help. That includes for me my live artists, our assistants that go on site to events with us, as well as content creator, video editors, and things like that for our social media. And while this is the highest expense, it truly makes me so happy to see that most of our investments went towards supporting local artists and creatives. Truly, that is my favorite part of my job, outside of course, serving our guests and seeing their reactions, seeing them light up when they receive their portrait. I love that our business gets to support other artists. So I'm very happy with that being the highest expense. I will say that most of the contractors that we hire out all have day jobs outside of what they do with us, and they want to have a creative outlet, something that will be fun, creative, artistic. And so this is kind of the perfect side job for them. They get to do something that they love and get paid for it. Our second highest category is going to be our travel expenses. Now, I will say most of the events that I do are travel right now. I'm based in Nashville, but most of our events are in California, in the West Coast, occasionally on the East Coast, but I will say most of our events are in California. So any expenses that go into travel, including flights, lodge, hotel, car rental, Uber, food, anything that pay for that travel will go in this category. And for us this year was 15%. Each year it's a little bit different if we have more travel or less travel, how many people we have to fly out, things like that. But the rough estimate, I would say, is accurate to the 15% mark for our expenses. And then right after that is cost of goods. So that includes materials that we need to fulfill the order, whether that be a service or a product. So that includes things like paper, paint, brushes, any supplies that we need, also printing, shipping out the artwork, and bigger purchases that I might need. This year I bought a camera, so I would consider that under this expense category, but that came to 14% this year. The fourth category is going to be our tech software and programs. So that includes our email newsletter software, which we use Kit, Squarespace, which is our website host, storage space on Apple Cloud, Dropbox, things like that, and then Adobe Suite and Canva Pro. I also have some video editing software that I pay for, including Descript, which is the software that I use to edit our YouTube videos. So if you're watching this, I use Descript to edit this video. And then I also use CapCut for Instagram videos. I also have some subscriptions that I turn on and off depending on if I need it in the moment or not. And that includes things like ChatGPT, Loom, which records our screen, and also ManyChat. Last but not least, our final expense category is going to be education, which came in at 7% this year. The highest part of the budget was going towards my mastermind, which I have been a part of for the last few years. If you don't know what a mastermind is, it's basically a group of people that come together to mastermind together. It can be led by somebody or peer-led, which is the group that I'm a part of. We talk on Zoom on a monthly basis and meet up in person twice a year. So that's where a bulk of the education expenses went to. Other than that, I have only signed up for smaller workshops this year, mini courses or little webinars that help me solve one problem. In the past, I have done bigger courses for bigger outcomes. Now on to what I did well versus what I can improve on moving forward. First of all, I am very happy with my highest expense being our hired help. Like I said, supporting artists is such a joy for me, and this coming year I may increase it by 4% or so, bringing on hired help to 60% of the expenses. Hopefully, as this channel grows, I can also hire a video editor. That would be a huge goal of mine. And the one area that I want to improve on is going to be the travel section. Sometimes when I travel for work, I like to penny pinch and travel at the lowest possible cost, which has not been the best in the past, because when you travel for work, it's not like you're going on vacation. It's a lot more hectic. There's a lot more moving parts. So now I'm finding that I'm prioritizing peace and comfort and convenience. I also want to be better about documenting the smaller expenses that go into travel, things like paying for parking at the airport or buying Starbucks before an event, in and out runs post-event, obviously a must. Things like that, I want to be better at tracking as well. Okay, finally, if you are curious what my profit margin was this year, here it is. Thanks for sticking around till the end. My profit margin was 62% this year. I am not mad about that. I am not planning on changing this coming year, but I do planning on increasing my revenue so that the 62% is higher, if that makes sense. Also wanted to mention that my expenses and my profit margin has fluctuated throughout the last 10 years of my business. The categories of what I spent most on definitely has changed over the years. So I do want to mention that. If you are starting out, maybe hired help will not be your highest category. Maybe it would be spent towards education or cost of goods, materials that you actually need to fulfill the order or service. And later on, as you grow in your business, hired help might be something that you add, and it will slowly grow over time. And that is totally normal. That's how I did it. I hope this breakdown was helpful for you and gave you a tangible, visual example of what your expenses and profit margin could look like. No matter where you're at, you are doing great and you're taking steps forward, including watching this video towards growing your business. So kudos to you. If you have any questions, leave it down in the comments below. Make sure to like this video and hit subscribe to watch more videos like this. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.